Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again, and welcome to another video here at Lacquer. In today's video, we are doing a little cluster of hauls. Some of these I actually don't even know what they are. A lot of these have been accumulating over the last month and a half or so, maybe even about 2 months. And I did also want to briefly apologize for my absence over the last few weeks. I definitely have not been posting as much as I had been, especially during that huge estate haul. Short story is there's just a lot going on behind the scenes in my life at the moment, and I think I was a bit overwhelmed by a lot of stuff. So we do have some polishes to take a look at. We're going to go back to the style that I used to do, at least for this one, and do this cluster of an unboxing with you guys, and then we'll do some swatching here at the end. So we have Polished for Days, Sweet and Sour Lacquer, Wildflower Lacquer, and then one that I don't know who it's from. I don't even think you guys can see it. It is a pink package over here. We will unbox those, see how many polishes we come up with, and then see how many more I can put onto a swatch wheel here at the end. Also did want to briefly mention what is on my fingers at the moment. I attempted to apply a temporary tattoo on myself and didn't realize it was the kind that could transfer and is semi-permanent. It's probably going to be on there for about 2 weeks, so it's a good thing I didn't sleep on my face. Anyways, let's go ahead and open these. All right, let's start with the box. This is from Sweet and Sour Lacquer. This should be just about 2 polishes, I think. So also, as a brief little synopsis of my low buy, if you guys were curious, I've actually been doing really well at that. I mean, surprisingly well. And also I'm getting more ink on my fingers from my little my little address blocker outer, so that's going to be all over my fingers as well. But yeah, my low buy is actually going surprisingly well, and the reason it's surprising is because I really thought that it was going to be very difficult for me to not buy as much. The short of the story is, oh, actually it's only 1 polish. I forgot. It is a single polish. Yay, I only bought 1 polish. What this was a custom polish that she came up with. It was a like very exclusive limited edition. I think there was only like 60 bottles that were available, and I feel very fortunate that I saw her post when she was posting pictures of it, and it definitely caught my attention. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one first. Like I said, it is Sweet and Sour Lacquer, and this one is called Channel of the Flannel. It was a custom for September 2023, and this is one of those polishes that has a very unique combination. I think the base of this one is like a chocolate brown, and then you have this amazing shifting shimmer that goes from a very prominent blue to aqua to some purple at extreme angles. I mean, very pretty. Right up my alley, so I can't wait to see that one swatched. That was Sweet and Sour Lacquer's Channel of the Flannel. We are going to go ahead and unbox everything, and then, like I said, do swatches at the end. All right, next up is Wildflower Lacquer. All right, so this, I believe, is from a while ago. Maybe not. It was shipped in October, but I thought it was... No, this is Polished for Days. What am I saying? Polished for Days. Yeah, this one was definitely more recent. This one is the Wildflower. So Polished for Days had a release with a new collection, and I ended up behaving, and I only purchased 3. So like I said, the low buy is definitely going a lot better than I had anticipated it might, even though I do have a number of packages to open. For last month, I'll try to insert a screenshot of my September wish list spreadsheet that I had going, and I only ended up buying, I want to say, from like 3 different places for September, when I had initially been quite overwhelmed by how many releases were coming up for the month. This one for Polished for Days was also purchased in September. This one, however, was sort of a last minute addition. It wasn't really on my radar per se, but I did find 3 that were absolutely beautiful. The first one is called Happy Haunts, and the collection that she released was Haunted Glow. I think that was what it was called. Yeah, Haunted Glow for 2023. So this first one is the Happy Haunts, and this has one of my favorite color combinations, anything that mixes a blue with a purple. And this one actually does have a purple base with that beautiful aqua to green to blue shifting shimmer. You can see some of that more electric purple there at the edge of the bottle. absolutely gorgeous. This is another one I cannot wait to see swatched. The second one is a bright pink called Look Alive. Now this is one that I will have to do some comparisons of because this is a color combination I really enjoy. I have a handful in similar themed color schemes that I really like. This one though I thought did seem different enough to the ones that I already have. I think I've got a Kathleen & Co. There is one from Wildflower Lacquer, which is a completely different shade of pink. The new one from Polished for Days is a deeper shade of more like a vivid fuchsia, but this one does have a lot of components that I like. It's got these silver holographic flakies in it, as well as that blue contrasting shimmer that I absolutely love to see in a pink polish, no matter the shade range of pink. So this is another one that I can't wait to see. Like I said, I do need to do some comparisons of it to those other shades, but I thought it was different enough to go ahead and purchase. Then the third one that I got from the collection is an orange, perfect for the season. This is Room for 1,000, and this one I thought was really interesting. So it's kind of hard to see in the base. In fact, I might have to wait until we actually swatch it. I think this one might have like a gray base to it. And then of course, as you can see, it is glowing with fire. You've got oranges and golds, little bits of green there at the extreme angles. This is another one, like I said, just absolutely a perfect fall polish. This is probably going to have to make an appearance on my fall seasonal rack. So another one that I cannot wait to see swatched. That was Polished for Days Room for 1,000. All right, now we're on to Wildflower Lacquer. And for Wildflower Lacquer, I also limited myself to just 3 polishes. I don't remember if they were having a new collection. I think they did have a new collection. I think this one was one of my September purchases as well. The first one is called It's Ghosts. This one was a charity polish for CRARS. I'm actually not sure what that stands for, but this was one of the colors that I thought was really interesting. It is this very light gray, full of hollow, and look at that glow. Can you see the pink and the red there at the edges? It is even more noticeable in person. I think on camera you're only seeing that itty bitty glow, but you can see that blue flash really amazingly. There's also a purple flash in this as well as gold. It is really beautiful. I think what really sold me on this was, I think it's like a returning polish that had been previously released, and someone had posted pictures of this used as a topper, and it was outstanding. So I had to get this one. It was It's Ghosts. Next up, ooh, I got this interesting green. This one is called Blessed by Nature. So this is one that did come out in that collection. So technically I think I only got 2 from the new collection, and this one is from the Dark Forest collection. Now this one I will say I did sort of go back and forth on because it is a very pruggly-ish shade of green, but I couldn't not get this because it is extremely unique. It is this swampy green with a beautiful like multichromatic shifting shimmer that goes from fuchsia to purple. There's some orange or red there at the extreme angles, plus there's a larger particle in here that I think I'm seeing as a purple. Yeah, on camera you can definitely see that as a purple. So I mean, this is just wow, very unusual, and another one that I think is really nice for the fall season. So cannot wait to see this one swatched either. That was Blessed by Nature. And then actually I was mistaken, I only got 1 from the main collection. Wow. The other 2 that I got were charity polishes. So the other one that I got is Imua, and this is the Maui charity polish. And yeah, this is one that I absolutely had to get. It is another pink that mixes a blue in it, which, as of course you know, I absolutely love. This one is of course a much lighter shade than the one from Polished for Days, which was Look Alive, and this one has just such a beautiful glow. The pink in here I would almost call more of like a corally shade of pink, kind of getting outshone there by the shimmer, but there around the edges, that's the tone of pink, kind of a corally shell pink, and then you have that beautiful glow. I think this is another polish where it is going to be an absolute game changer for a topper. I can't wait to try it over a bunch of different colors. So that one was Imua. All right, and this is the one that I don't know who it is from. I don't recognize the name. Oh, Sassy Sauce. No, not Sassy Sauce. I think this one is, yeah, this is the Breast Cancer Awareness Box. Yay! And I was actually just looking at my order to see who I had purchased from, because someone had posted pictures of their all mixed up lacquer strength within, and it was so amazing I had to go and make sure that I had indeed got it. And I did, thank goodness. It was amazing. Okay, which polishes did I get? All right, one that I got is Beau Revs. This is one of the halves of the Old Fair Maiden brand that has branched out into their own brands. So this one is called Hopeful Heart, and this one is a really interesting coral cantaloupe almost. Even more orange than that. I mean, it's really unusual. There is a green shimmer as well as some silver holographic flakies. This one is really beautiful. There's also like a lighter shade of orange there, which I think on camera you're seeing as a pink, but behind that pink, in person, I'm seeing a lighter shade of orange. So really beautiful shifts. That one was Beau Revs Hopeful Heart. And here is that all mixed up lacquer, Strength Within. This is that one that I had to go track down to make sure I'd gotten it. This is a really beautiful shade of this like grapey purple, and it is jam-packed full of this shifting shimmer that goes from blue to green. I want to say there's also like a secondary particle in here that's slightly larger than the main shift that I'm seeing flashing in pink. Maybe it's a hollow, I can't quite tell, but this one, this is amazing. So that was all mixed up lacquers, Strength Within. Next up, going in alphabetical order, we have Cupcake Polishes F Cancer. This is one that I had almost not necessarily cut for the sake of cutting, but I almost only got either this one or the Great Lakes Lacquer because they are both pink shimmers, but both were just so incredible. I went back and forth looking at both of them on different swatch pictures, and I just couldn't decide. So this is one of those instances where I did go ahead and grab both of them. We'll have to see how they compare. But this one has a really beautiful deep shade of pink loaded with this larger particled shifting shimmer. You're seeing golds and greens, oranges. This one is so, so beautiful. So that one is Cupcake Polish F Cancer. Next up is the Great Lakes Lacquer, and this is Strength Untold. So let's just go ahead and see them side by side. Now, they do have a very similar color roll in that shift, but I will say at least right off the bat, I am seeing a slight color difference. The Cupcake Polish, I think, is a bit deeper, more saturated, whereas the one from Great Lakes Lacquer is a bit of a lighter tone. So here's hoping that they are different enough, but we'll have to see if I end up keeping both. But yeah, both gorgeous colors there. But that last one was Great Lakes Lacquer, Strength Untold, or at least second to last. I've got one more from Sassy Sauce. Ooh, this one is called Focus on the Fight, and this one I thought was rather interesting. It is this pinky leaning purple pink. Like, I'm having a hard time finding the word to describe this tone. It's too pink to be grapey, but it's too purple to be pink or fuchsia even. Yeah, I don't know what I would call this. Maybe magenta? I don't know. I'm struggling with words right now. But what I loved about this, besides the unique coloration of this, is the larger particled size here in those blue glowy things that you're seeing, those flakies and the shimmer. Really interesting color combination there. You can see that it rolls to a deeper shade, almost like a purple. So this I thought would be very, very unique. And it's another one that I'm very excited to see swatched. That was Sassy Sauce's Focus on the Fight. So that is 12 polishes. Let's go ahead and pull one small order. In fact, I might go ahead and pull the polish pickup for August because I skipped September. Whew, go me. So yeah, for August, I did get 3 polishes from Polish Pickup. So the first one is the Bluebird Lacquer. This one is Rollin' with my Chromies. And this is another color combination that I do tend to frequently purchase, but this one just seemed so beautiful. The color rolls are really rainbowy. I mean, they run the gambit from red to gold to green. The larger particles in this also made me think that it might be different enough from the other colors that I have in this color range to make it worth checking out. So hopefully it is unique enough to my collection. That's Bluebird Lacquer's Rolling with My Chromies. Next up, we have KB Shimmers, Follow Your Art. And this one is a really beautiful multi-chromatic polish. You have holographic like micro glitters and flakies. Look at that. So this is one that I'm also very excited to see swatched. In fact, most of the colors I think aren't really showing up on camera very well, but it goes from blue to purple to fuchsia. There's gold and green and even orange at the extreme angles. So another one that just has an amazing color roll from all of these colors. So can't wait to see this one as well. That one is KB Shimmers Follow Your Art. And the last polish that I got for August's PPU is from Sassy Sauce, and this is That's What C Said. This is another one that's probably going to make an appearance on my fall seasonal rack. It's also another one that I have seen people post their own swatch pictures of after they got their hauls, and they have been loving it. So I can't wait to see this one. And it's a very interesting shade of this orange that on some swatches looked a little bit brighter, like you're seeing there, that sort of yellowish tone, but in person it's more like a deep, like yellow leaning squash. It's got that pumpkiny hue, which I'm not really sure is coming up very well on camera, but you see that deeper tone when I cover one of my lights. You're getting a deeper pumpkiny squash color, and then of course look at that glow. That is so incredibly unique in this orange base. I do not have anything else like it. Very, very excited to see this one swatched as well. You have these smaller flakies as well as a shifting shimmer. They are basically in the same color family, although as you can see in those flakies, you get a little bit more of an aqua that pops up as well. That flash in that shimmer does tend to lean a little bit more towards the purple side. So yeah, this is another one I'm very excited to see swatched. That one is Sassy Sauce's That's What C Said. Okay, let's get to swatching. Alright, so here is everybody swatched. We're going to go ahead and take a peek at each individual polish. And what I've been trying to do with each of my haul videos is tell you guys which polishes, if any, I regret getting, if I have second doubts about them or anything like that, to help you guys out with your own collection, and of course to help me with my huge collection, because I definitely need to do a destash. But let's go ahead and start with the first one. The first one is Sweet and Sour Lacquer, and that is Channeled Flannel. This one is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Now, if you see any weird hairs on video, unfortunately that seems to be the top coat that I chose to use. I've never had a top coat be this stringy before, where it actually creates a web over everything that it touches. So apologies about that. I did try to clean it up as best I could, but there might be a few strays here and there. In any case, here's Channel the Flannel in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Now, this one is a bit, there's one of those little hairs. It's not a hair, it's a top coat. Let me know if anyone else has had a problem with that. This is the one that I used. It's Absolute New York One Shot 2 times fast drying. I honestly don't even know where I got this. It was probably a Goodwill bag, and I even added a bunch of thinner to see if that would help. It didn't seem to. In any case, this one is pretty sheer still in these 3 coats. Now, keep in mind, I am wearing a pretty dark polish on my nails at the moment, so you can definitely see a lot of that through some of these lighter colors, or in this case, a sheerer polish. Now, I think I saw Latanya over at Lacquer to Lashes wear this on her nails, and she wore it in 4 coats. So she was also experiencing a pretty sheer formula with this. Now, I will say for myself, what I'll probably end up doing for my own nails is put this over a chocolate brown of some kind. Does this count as a regret? I would say no, mainly because the shimmer is really beautiful in this, and I do think it will pop nicely over a lot of darker shades, and I do love a good blue shimmer. So while this one is pretty sheer, I definitely like it in my collection. So I'll at least give it a shot, see if it can't work in a couple of different ways. But that was Sweet and Sour Lacquer's Channel the Flannel. Next up is Polished for Days Happy Haunts. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now, this one I adore. It has that purpley base, which I hope you guys can see there around the edges. You get that purple tone, and then beautiful, beautiful green to blue to purple shifts. This one is beautiful. Definitely happy that I went and looked at more swatches of this, because when I initially saw the collection, I thought it was just more like a tealy green metallic, and I am very impressed with what it actually is with that purpley base. So definitely happy to have this one in my collection. So that one is definitely not a regret either. That is Polished for Days Happy Haunts. Next up is Polished for Days Look Alive. This is also in 2 coats. Now, this one I will say is probably somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, depending on your nail length and application. But as you can see, you can kind of see those little dots that I have on my nail peeking through if you look real close. But I think on some shorter nails, 2 coats should be just fine. And I do love the amount of rich color that you get, as well as those flakies that you get scattered on the nail, and of course that beautiful blue shimmer. So this definitely does not count as a regret either. I'm very happy to have this one in my collection. So that one was Polished for Days Look Alive in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up has got to be one of my favorites from this entire haul. This is Room for 1,000. This is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and I know it is a bit on the sheer side, but I love this in 2 coats, and I wanted you to be able to see the base color. I was a little bit concerned that 3 coats might completely obliterate the fact that this is a purple base. It's a purple base. I mean, look at that beautiful, beautiful color. Hopefully you guys can see that purple tone, and then it is just jam-packed full of that amazing fiery glow. This one is stunning. If you can get a hold of this and you love this type of a glowy, fiery color, and you also love purples, I would highly suggest this one. And I try really hard not to do that, so that hopefully says something about how amazing I find this polish. It is stupendous. So this is definitely not a regret either. I actually will most likely be putting this on my nails next. So that is Polished for Days Room for 1,000. Next up is Wildflower Lacquer's It's Ghosts. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one I would also say is somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater depending on your nail length, but as you can see when you tilt it away and you aren't wearing something like a black polish underneath it, I think some nail lengths would be just fine with 2 coats. This one is a very beautiful, well, ghostly polish. It has that blue to purple shifting shimmer. You have hollow. It's kind of a white, it's kind of a gray, it's kind of a blue. It is just so beautiful and unique. Now, this is one that I will have to play around with to see if I end up enjoying it as much as I hope I will. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it falls under the regret category necessarily, but polishes like this, I do tend to appreciate much better in the bottle and on other people than I do myself. However, I will at least put this on my maybe winter rack and see if I can't play around with this over a few colors. And like I said, when I initially saw this, I think it was being used as a topper over another color. So I definitely want to play around with that as well before I ultimately decide if it's going to stay in my collection or not. But it is a beautiful polish and I love the addition of the hollow to this. So that one is Wildflower Lacquer's It's Ghosts. There we go. This is a perfect example of what it is doing. See that? What is that? What is that? Of course you can't see it on camera, but it is these little tiny, not even fine, I mean they're long hairs of that top coat. I mean, wow. Yeah, ridiculous. Don't like it. Next up, we have Wildflower Lacquer's Blessed by Nature. This one I did go back and do a 3rd coat because I was noticing the 2 coats wasn't quite as rich as I was seeing the color being in the bottle. So this is 3 coats with a glossy top coat. And this one is definitely very, very unique. It is a grungy polish. If ever I did see one, I will definitely be giving this a shot this fall as well. I think it is a perfect fall polish. I'll have to see how it looks matte because this could be really interesting. Now, does this fall into the category of a regret? No, it is far too unique for me to axe it. It's definitely outside my comfort zone. I think a lot of my regular viewers will know that greens are not necessarily one of my favorite color categories. I'm still pretty particular, although I do have favorite tones of the green family. Mints are one of them. I do love my teals, but these pruglies or swampy greens are still a little outside my comfort zone. However, I am very impressed by this polish and I can't wait to wear this. So definitely not a regret either. I think we're doing pretty well on this haul so far. So that was a Wildflower Lacquer's Blessed by Nature in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up is Wildflower Lacquer's Imua. This was the Maui Charity Polish. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one I will say does fall somewhere in between a 2 and 3 coater. As you can see, you can definitely see those little polka dots that I have on my nail, but I really liked how it looked in these 2 coats. Now what I don't think is coming across very well is the pink base. Right there you're sort of seeing almost like a tan orangey weird sort of color. In person it's definitely more of a pink like you're seeing here in the bottle shot. It is very, very beautiful and incredibly shifty. That pink tone definitely shifts around as well in different lighting. So this is another one that I can't wait to play around with, and it definitely falls in the not a regret category as well. This one is very, very beautiful. So that is Wildflower Lacquer's Imua in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now we're moving on to the breast cancer awareness box. The first one is All Mixed Up Lacquer's Strength Within. This one is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Now what I loved about this one is the tone of this purpley pink polish and of course that shifting shimmer. Now if I wasn't already planning on wearing the polish for days, this most likely would have been one that I was going to have on my nails next. However, I do find this to be more of a summery color or maybe an early fall, and I know we're not that far into fall, but I'm definitely feeling these fiery colors a little bit more than I am my purples at the moment anyways. But this one is definitely not a regret. I adore this color. It is absolutely amazing. So that is for sure not going anywhere. It's probably going to go in the to wear sooner rather than later pile. That is All Mixed Up Lacquer's Strength Within. Next up is, I think, my first, if not one of my first, Beau Revs polishes, and this is Hopeful Heart. This is such an incredibly unique corally shade. I love the amount of shifts that you get, and of course it has those holographic flakies that I love to see in polish. This one is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat, and I would say probably most people would need 3 unless you do have shorter nails or you do like a more sheer color, but I thought that the third coat really amped up the shade of the orange in this one, gave it the richness that I was seeing in the bottle. This definitely is not a regret either. I can't wait to see this one out in the sunshine, maybe next summer, and see all of those beautiful shifts. So that one is Beau Rev's Hopeful Heart. Next up is Cupcake Polish's F Cancer. This is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this is amazing. I absolutely love these larger particled shimmers, the kind that are almost like a mini flaky. They add a beautiful effect to the nail, and we can see that side by side with that Great Lakes Lacquer, and they are different enough that I don't think they are a dupe by any means. They have a very similar shift, like I mentioned, in the shifting particles, but because you have the lighter tone in the Great Lakes Lacquer and a deeper tone in the Cupcake Polish, I do feel like they are pretty different once they're on the nail. You also have a little bit more of the gold pop up in the Great Lakes Lacquer. That might be because of the lighter tone of pink, but the Cupcake is absolutely gorgeous, as is the Great Lakes. We're going to get to that one in a second, but here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Again, that was the Cupcake Polish's F Cancer. Now this is definitely not a regret. I adore this size particle, and the pink is really beautiful. Moving right along to the Great Lakes Lacquer, this is Strength Untold, also in 2 coats with a glossy top coat, and as I mentioned, this one is a lighter shade of pink. It does have very similar shifts to the one from Cupcake, but like I mentioned, I think you do get a slightly lighter look there on the nail. So I do think if you were to have like one on each nail, I think you would be able to tell that you were wearing different polishes. So we'll have to see if I end up keeping both long term, but I mean, look at how different they are in that lighting right there. You get a bit more of an orange in the Cupcake and a bit more of that gold in the Great Lakes Lacquer. So yeah, beautiful polishes, both of them. So that one is Great Lakes Lacquer Strength Untold. Next up is Sassy Sauce Focus on the Fight. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This is such a beautiful polish. This one is more of a crelly formula, or maybe like a cream crelly if there is such a thing. So 2 coats should be fine for most nail lengths unless you have a very prominent or visible nail line. But I love this combination. Absolutely adore this combination. You have that color, like I said, that I can't quite figure out how to name it because it's kind of this mix between a purple and a pink. Then of course you have that amazing blue to purple glow in it. And you know I love a good glow. So this is another that is definitely not a regret. If it was summer, I would be putting this on my nails right away. It is really beautiful. So that is Sassy Sauce Focus on the Fight. Next up we have Bluebird Lacquer's Rolling with My Chromies. This is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this is definitely one that falls somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater depending on your nail length and application, and of course how you like polishes. For polishes with this size of a particle, I personally don't mind if I can see a bit of my nail line underneath. I think that it adds a beautiful ethereal, sparkly, twinkly, magical look on the nail. However, if you wanted to wear it in 3 coats, you might get a little bit more of an opacity level and a bit more of a rich blue on the nail, but this particle size is a beautiful one. Love all the shifts that you're seeing. So this one definitely falls into the not a regret either. So we are on quite the roll. So that was Bluebird Lacquer's Rollin' with My Chromies. Next up we have KB Shimmer's Follow Your Art. This is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this is another one where I think some people might be okay with 2 coats. I did go ahead and come back for a third because I was noticing a little bit of inconsistencies with my first and second coat. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any streakiness in the swatch. So I really love how deep it ended up being in that 3rd coat. So maybe even if you were able to get more even coats, you might want the 3rd just for a richness factor, or you could always put this over a dark blue or a dark purple or even a black to sort of amp up the opacity level, and then you can layer up the flakies and that beautiful multichrome pigment. This one I would say is probably still pretty unique to my collection. Most of the multichromes that I have are either holographic or regular multichromes. This definitely is not a regret either. I was struggling to pick which multichrome I was going to buy for the month, and I'm pretty glad that I went with this one. It is beautiful. So that one is KB Shimmer's Follow Your Art. And last but not least, we have another sassy sauce. This is That's What She Said, and this is such a beautiful one. This is it in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now I will say this is somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater. As you can see, you can kind of still see my nail underneath it, but as I mentioned before, I am wearing a basically black polish. But this is a beautiful and unique polish. This is another one where if I had opened this a bit earlier in the fall season, I would probably be putting this on my nails next, but I just cannot get over this polished for days. This is another though in my favorites. I cannot wait to wear this one. I might have to put this in the to be worn sooner rather than later pile as well and get this one on my nails. That glow in it is beautiful. It's blue, it's purple, it kind of makes a pink when it's mixed in with this orange. It is beautiful. So another not regret. I think we went through this entire haul without a regret. So that is really awesome. That is Sassy Sauce, That's What She Said. All right, so there we have it. That was a little cluster of hauls. Let me know down below which ones were your favorites, if you bought from any of these collections, the Polished for Days new release, the Wildflower new release, or the Breast Cancer Awareness Box, and of course a Polished Pickup. As I mentioned, I'm pretty sure I did skip September altogether for Polished Pickup, and September was definitely one of the lower purchase months for me in quite a while. But like I said, I am doing a low buy, so I'm trying really hard to watch what I purchase, and so far I'm feeling pretty good about it. If you're also on a low buy, let me know how you're doing it down below. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in that next one.